I'd first like to start out by saying thank you for using the Simply Canvas and Simply Color video tutorial systems. My name is Emily Sullivan, and this video tutorial is designed to show you how to apply a colored border to a Gallery Wrap canvas. So the first thing that I've done is to pull my file into Photoshop, as you can see, and what we're going to be doing is resizing the image to the canvas size that we'd like to have printed, as well as applying a colored border. So the first step is to come into Image, scroll down to Image Size, and your image palette will appear for you. So what I'm going to be doing for the sake of this tutorial is making a canvas that has a front face dimension of 16 inches by 20 inches. Now I will remind you that we do need to add an extra 2 inches per dimension, so that's 2 inches to the width and 2 inches to the height per side, in order to accommodate both the colored border as well as the depth of the stretcher bar. So I will be using a standard stretcher depth, which is 1.5 inches, so that accounts for the first 1.5 inches that we'll be adding. And the extra 1/2 inch is where the canvas is pulled all the way around to the back of the stretcher where it is stapled and assembled. So that is the extra 2 inches that we will be adding. So right now for my image size, I am going to size it at a 16 by 20, and I'm going to do so first by making sure that the resample image box is unchecked. You can see that what that does is that it locks in your pixel dimensions at the top, as well as right here, it locks together your width, height, and resolution. So if one changes, they all change to correspond. And since I am going to be changing it to a 16 by 20, that is the same proportion as an 8 by 10. For the sake of this example, I'm going to be using the height first, which is the longer of the two dimensions. So if you had a different number, you would just choose the longer of the two dimensions and change that first. So you can see that my width automatically changed to 16 because, once again, the original file size is the same proportion as the one that I'm changing it to. As well, the resolution changed. We are going to come back at a later step and change our resolution. So for right now, we have the width and the height changed, and we're going to click OK. So now I do need to add in that extra 2 inches to accommodate our colored border as well as the stretch around the stretcher bar. So I'm going to come back into Image, scroll down to Canvas Size, and I will be presented with this canvas palette. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to make sure that my relative box is checked. What that does is that any dimension that you type into the width and the height boxes will be evenly distributed around the sides of your canvas. Also, you need to make sure that your anchor point is in the center so that when the relative box does evenly distribute that dimension, that it starts from the center of the canvas and moves its way out. So I'm going to be adding 4 inches to the width and 4 inches to the height, and what that's going to do is put 2 inches all the way around the image. So now that my size is totally set, I'm just going to take advantage of all of the tools available in this canvas palette, and I'm going to come down to the canvas extension color. What we are essentially doing is making a canvas extension, so I'm going to just go ahead and use this. There are 2 ways to approach using the canvas extension color box. The first is by scrolling all the way up to the top and clicking on Foreground. I'm going to just move that box over to the side and come into my Tools palette where I will be choosing my eyedropper tool. If you do choose to use your foreground color, what you're going to do is bring your eyedropper tool into your image and just scroll around and click on areas. You'll see that this box, which is your foreground color box, is going to be changing every time you click your mouse on a color. So you can just scroll around until you find a color that you like. And if you were happy with that color, which you can see now appears in this little thumbnail, if you were happy with that for the color of your border, you would simply click OK, and that's what would be added to the extra dimension around your canvas. The other option is to scroll all the way down to Other, where your full color palette will be available for you. And here you can simply move this little circle around until you find the color that you are interested in having around your border. So I'm pretty happy with this sort of brown gray, so I'm going to click OK. And you can see that that color is now the color that corresponds in this little thumbnail. Once I'm happy with that color, I'm going to click OK. And as I do, both the extra dimension as well as the color are applied simultaneously. So once all of that work is done, the last thing that we're going to do is to come back into our image size and change our resolution. So we're going to come up to Image, scroll down to Image Size, and what we're going to do is make sure that our Resample Image box is checked, and we're just simply going to highlight on our resolution number and change it down to 100. Here at Simply Canvas and Simply Color Lab, we do have a RIP software that goes from our computer to our printer and allows us to take an image that is sized at 100 ppi and blow it up to a 20 by 24 without any pixelation or loss of detail in the image. So the last thing I'm going to do is come down to this toolbox and choose Bicubic Smoother, which is best for enlargement. Remember that our original image size was an 8 by 10 and we're now at a 16 by 20 or a 20 by 24, which is the full dimension of the canvas. So we'll choose Bicubic Smoother and click OK. So that finishes all of the steps that we need to take in order to apply the colored border. All that's left at this point is to click File and hit Save. Pardon me, we're going to hit Save As, and what we're going to do is rename this file in a way that denotes that a color border has been added and just the dimensions that it has been turned into. So the girl being photographed's name is Jordan. That's how I know this image. And I'm just going to type resized 16 by 20 colored border. This is just going to let me know exactly what's contained within this file. And then I'm going to save it somewhere that is going to make it easy for me to find. So I'm going to just save it on my desktop. And the next thing is to make sure that it is going to be saved as a JPEG file. So I'm going to open all of my file options and select JPEG, and now I'm going to hit Save. Where you're going to be brought to the JPEG's options box. We do ask that you send your JPEGs in at the highest possible quality, which is a number 12, quality number 12. So if this were set at something else, you could either highlight this number and change it to 12, or use this toggle bar and move it all the way to the right under Large File and hit OK. And your file is now saved with a new name, which you can see corresponding right here. Also, it's on your desktop and it's ready to go to be uploaded into the ROSE system. So once again, I'd like to thank you for using the Simply Canvas and Simply Color video tutorial system. My name is Emily Sullivan, and we look forward to doing business with you in the future.